Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Parker Pod. On today's episode, I'm joined by someone whose transformation inside and out is nothing short of inspiring. Jake Ramos went from battling excess weight to building a physique strong enough to step on the bodybuilding stage. Along the way, he's faced more than his fair share of highs and lows, but his perseverance, discipline, and faith have always carried him through. He was now a co-founder of the Tampa Bay Run Club, and he's a sponsored athlete with Raw Fitness, a personal trainer helping others change their lives. And because one passion wasn't enough, he's also an amateur tattoo artist. Jake has also experienced one of the most powerful shifts of all, giving his life to Christ. Today, we're going to dig into his fitness journey, his spiritual journey, and everything in between. Jake, how are you doing today, man?
Great. How are you?
I'm awesome. Thank you for asking. Let's kind of start from the beginning. I mean, you and I, we met at Crunch. Funny story, just to kind of kick it off. When you were doing your practical and you were walking around on your first day, I remember that I was in between clients and I was working out. And you came up to me and you were like, "Hey, dude, like, you look like you got it figured out, but like, I need to get people's names. So do you mind writing your name and phone number down?" And instead of just going, yeah or no, I grilled you about what I was putting my name down for. And
Yeah.
I wanted to see if you knew what you were talking about in terms of like the whole crunch process. And then after about 3 to 4 minutes of grilling you, I was like, dude, I work here. Like, I'm literally just taking a break in between clients. But take us back to like the early days, right? Like, obviously you became a personal trainer. But before you started that fitness journey, what initially sparked you to make that change in your life?
I mean, it was really just a battle of just relationships at that point. I got out of a pretty serious long relationship, kind of just, going through the motions. I was still in college. I needed something to I was kind of going to the gym a little bit whenever I was dating her. And then whenever we ended, it was like I needed something to fill the time. And I just kind of, found love in the gym and just kept with it.
So what were some of like the hardest challenges you think that you faced when you first started that journey?
Definitely, I know this is the most cliche one, but probably body dysmorphia. I mean, I was making progress and I wasn't overweight as much anymore, but it was kind of that battle of losing somebody that was so important in your life. You know what I mean? Like you separate from a relationship and you kind of have to find yourself again. And the hardest thing about that is kind of like self-identity in a way. It's hard to just be confident in yourself, even when you're going to the gym. So when I was going to the gym, I was like a little nervous, being around everybody. They've been in the gym for a long time and stuff. So it was really not just giving up on it.
What do you think you leaned on the most in those moments in order to help you get over it?
I probably just leaned on just the mental effects that the gym gave me. Although it was hard, it gave me a sense of accomplishment that I hadn't had in a while. And it did give me that sense of identity to a degree. I was with her for a while, and then whenever I ended, it was like I didn't really know who I was myself. So to be in that space and kind of have my own identity and just kind of like my own confidence in the gym, it just kept me in there, kept me moving.
Yeah, because you eventually tied yourself to something that only you can control, right? Like, yeah, it was the gym. It's a physical location, and sometimes a certain gym will shut down. So maybe not being attached to the actual physical building of the gym itself, but that process is something that you control and you can always make time for, and you can always improve yourself with that. Like, it's you versus you. The only person required to work out is yourself. No one else is required to work out. So when you tie your identity into that and also loop in God, those are the two things that are never going to leave you, no matter where you are on your journey, are God and yourself. That's it. I mean, even people that you thought were never going to leave you, not even a significant other all the time, like best friends, family members that you thought were always going to be there, that you thought so highly of. And then, you hit a certain point where you're like, wow, I need to just bet on me, and I need to bet on my relationship with God, because if I keep those two things at the core, then really nothing else is going to impact me that way again. And I've done that throughout my life all the time. I've always, especially when I was younger, I've always seeked to attach myself to certain things that weren't always necessarily good for me. And in the Bible, it talks about like making sure that you attach yourself to God and the word of God and not necessarily the word of man or the promise of other people all the time, because that can often let you down, especially when they change their mind or they see things from a different perspective, different from what you have formulated yourself.
Yeah.
During that journey, was there like a turning point for you where you're like, I'm not the same person? Like, I know you said you struggle with body dysmorphia, but was there a point where there was like a clear, like, I'm not the same Jake I was?
So yeah, so there's 2 points on that. One, I want to draw back to the attachment thing. But first, to answer that question, it's funny, until very, very recently, I want to say, so I've been into the gym for about 5 years now, and I actually haven't like gained, it's funny, I haven't gained the confidence, the like I didn't know the self-worth I had until probably, I mean, even until after like Crunch, it was probably a few months ago, right? I've been in the gym for 5 years. It was a few months ago that I finally like understood like my potential and like who I am. So the gym's not just like a shortcut to like self-confidence, you know what I mean? I would love to tie it into the fact that once I gained the self-confidence was actually, you can say coincidentally or not, for all of you non-believers or believers, but I hadn't been a full-on Christian until a few months ago. And around that time was when I also gained the confidence. So it's not just the gym that gives you the confidence. It's all the aspects of, faith, the gym, like everything in total. It was once I was working on my body, but I wasn't working on my mind. So once I finally started working on my body and my mind in one, that's when it kind of all came into fruition. And that's when I really gained the confidence.
What was the main thing that you pulled out of truly studying the scriptures and devoting that time to your faith? What was like that main thing that you pulled out that you think attributed the most to your confidence boost?
I wouldn't even say that it was necessarily a confidence boost. It's not an ego thing. It's more of it's just an at peace with your soul type of thing. It's like I'm not really searching for the biggest thing that I take away from faith is that I don't need to prove myself to anyone else other than him, right? So it's like I was always like, when you're in the gym, you're trying to, prove that you have the best body, that you look the best, like you're chasing these girls, you're chasing this and that and the other, you're posting on social media. And of course, yes, I post on social media, but it's not quite the same anymore. I'm not looking for validation in those things as I was before. And that's why I think that it's so important not to look for that validation. And that's why I couldn't find my self-confidence, because I would seek the validation from others. But even if you get a lot of it, like I was getting a lot of validation, online and stuff like that, it's never enough. Validation from earthly things will never be enough, right? So once you just have that validation of like, he loves me no matter what, like it doesn't matter what I do. I mean, obviously to a degree, but it doesn't matter, that you stop seeking that validation and you no longer need thousands of people telling you you're good enough. You just need that one person telling you you're good enough. So it really just, it gives you the confidence you need.
I have noticed that a lot of your posts went from like pictures of yourself to pictures of you with people, pictures of you, hanging out with people, and you guys are like reading the Bible or doing Bible study, or your posts are more servicing to others. Hey, here are some things that can help you. Here are some things that can help you in the gym. And it's, that relationship, yeah, while people will validate, oh, Jake, that's a great exercise. I tried that one out. It was awesome. It's also like God calls us to serve, right? So like God's going like, hey, this may help someone work out. This may help someone go, oh, he's giving me actual things that I can utilize in order to like grow my triceps, grow my chest, whatever it may be. And when that focus shifts, I think it's very beneficial for us in a way. And it's weird because your innate, or at least my innate, thought is, well, if you get stuff for yourself, then that's good for you. But the more and more that you give to other people, whether that be money, time, information, knowledge, the more it comes back to you, because you've been entrusted with that more. You're entrusted with, can give, so God's going to give you more because you're showing that you can give more out to people. And I think that's a very important thing for everyone to do with whatever they've been given. Even in the Bible, it says that the reason Lucifer fell was because he wanted the glory to come to him and not through him. And the more things can go through you, the more God can work and that God can touch other people. Bodybuilding specifically, though, let's touch on that for a minute. What made you want to go to that extent of like bodybuilding? Was it for you? Was it to
Yeah,
show other people they can do it? Like what was your thoughts behind doing that?
it's fully. I mean, at the beginning, it was more of a. At the beginning, it was definitely a social media tactic. It was more of a like, I thought it would be good for representation. It'd be good, for engagement and stuff to, get really lean and stuff. But very shortly after I started prep and I kind of got out of that headspace of, like doing it for other people, it really came down to I'm doing this just to prove to myself that I can do this. You know what I'm saying? It became a mental battle shortly after I figured out how difficult it really was. It's a 16-week prep, and about 4 weeks in is like when it really, like, at first it was easy sailing. You're eating 3,000 calories or 2,500. It's just a normal day eating. I'm losing weight. I'm feeling great, feeling lean. It's good. And then the calories start cutting. The cardio goes up and everything, and that's when stuff really hits the fan, and that's when you're just like, dang, this is tougher than I thought it was going to be. And it really shifts your dynamic from I'm doing this for others to I'm doing this for me to I just got to make sure I can do this. You know what I mean? It's more of a mental battle.
What do you think was the hardest part of that mental battle for you? Like, was it the food? Was it the workouts? Was it the cardio specifically? Like, what, the relationship
I'm a
part of
big guy,
it? Because I heard some people, whenever they do bodybuilding, their relationships like go sideways because they're, low energy, low temper.
Yeah, so I mean, at that time, I had just gotten out of something, so I was actually good on that front. Like, I wasn't looking for anything. I wasn't really entertaining myself with anybody. So I was perfectly fine on that front. I do know what they mean. Your testosterone and all of your hormones get messed up, and it was at a point during like the 6 weeks out where it was like mental focus, like just razor sharp. Like, women were not even like a construct in my mind. Like, I did not find them attractive. It's just hormonal imbalance then at that point. So yes, I could see how that would become a problem if you were in a relationship. It could cause some tension there, but yeah, I was fine on that front. It was more of it just once your food and your cardio goes up and the food goes down, it's like, man, it really hits you. It hits you different.
Was that I mean, that was before you really leaned on your faith. So during that, did you have to lean on your faith? Like, was it kind of like you lean on
It's
your
funny, I
faith at
think
all?
the bodybuilding part, I think, was a stepping stone, actually. I never really thought about it like that, but it really was a stepping stone. Whenever I started prep, I went through it, and it started getting tougher and tougher. And I had never leaned on faith. I had never leaned on anything mental. And I think that I also had just gotten out of something that was very, destructive to my mental state. And it really didn't hit me until those points where, I was very emotional because my hormones were messed up and stuff. And I needed something to lean on because I didn't have family here. I didn't have, a lot of friends, around me and stuff. It was really just me. And that was a really big thing that I remember from my bodybuilding prep was I see all these things online about like people going through bodybuilding prep and they're like, oh, my mom's like making me my meal prep, or like, oh, my girlfriend's like doing this. And I didn't have anybody. Like, I was by myself. My family was not in Tampa. I didn't have really any good friends at that point. I had some, but I was kind of being mean, and I was trying to distance myself from my friends, because I knew I was being overly aggressive because of my hormones, and I just didn't want to take that out on them. So I thought the best option was to distance instead of just putting them in that situation. So I started leaning on I got into reading a lot. I got into a lot of podcasts, a lot of self-help, and I got into a lot of like, I remember I was like meditating a lot. So I think it was a stepping stone of becoming spiritual, and I didn't really realize it, that I started leaning on something spiritual rather than before then. Everything that I did was I'm doing this because I can do this. Like I don't need somebody else to help me. That was always my thing. When I collapsed my lung, 3.5 years ago, when I collapsed my lung, I just remember like, I'm gonna fix it. Like, I don't care what the doctor said. I don't care what like they told me to stop working out. I'm like, nah, I don't care. Like, I was always like, it's a me thing. It's never like I didn't lean on anything. But yeah, during prep, it was kind of just like I started meditating. I started listening to podcasts, letting other people help me, if that makes sense. Maybe not people around me, but I would never be like, oh, I need to meditate to feel better. Like my mindset was always just feel better. Like it's not that deep,
Mm.
right? It's a horrible mindset once you actually think about it. It's good to a degree, but it can become destructive.
It's good to a degree. I think that even though you decided to meditate, that was still you going like, hey, we're going to feel better, but I have a tool now that I can use to feel better. I still don't need outside help, but we all do. And when you finally accept that, at least for me, like when I finally accepted the outside help, it's when I truly became good. Like if I was just like that complete dissolution of my ego allowed me to actually move forward faster. Like when I was personally losing the weight, right? Like I can say I did it all by myself, but I had my best friend talking to me on the phone 3 hours a day. I had my family supporting me whenever like we would go out to eat. Like no one would mind that I just got grilled chicken. Whenever I'd come home, like, you know, I was at college. So whenever I'd come home, my mom would like make sure that there was like grilled chicken in the house, like chicken breast, stuff like that. Like, so I could say that I did it all on my own, but I really didn't, because having those people in my corner really helped me, you know, push that extra mile. And going back to what you said about, you know, you having that collapsed lung, I know you also have like some sciatica pain, you know, sciatica problems, especially because like when we work out together, you're like, I can't, my sciatica. I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
But what are some things that you think are helping you like push through that mostly? And like what was the hardest obstacle, you know? Was it mental? Like hearing like, Jake, you have a collapsed lung. Like, how did you navigate that?
So when it happened, funny, let me just take you through this really quick.
Yeah, please do.
When it happened, I was at the gym, and this is for anybody listening. Don't ever hold your breath on a set. Like, just don't. Like, horrible idea. I was holding my breath on a chest fly, and I felt like a pinched nerve in my back, which is funny because it felt like it just tightened up and it pinched, and I was like, oh man, I felt like a little pop, and I thought I just like popped my back, and I thought that like I got a pinched nerve because that's what it felt like. It felt like up there. So I was like, dang. And I tried to stretch it out because I got them all the time. So I tried to stretch it out and stuff, the stretching. And it's funny because at that point, I obviously had a collapsed lung, and I decided it hurt, but I'm going to do another set. So I just grabbed the weight with a collapsed lung and start doing a whole nother set. And I'm just like, dang, this is getting worse. It hurts so bad. I'm like, I can't move. I'm like, all right, forget this. And I leave the gym, walk into my car, and then the pain just starts getting unbearable, and my breath starts shortening. Like slowly but surely, I start being able to take less and less of a breath. And I thought it was just, my mental, I'm very like, aware. So I was just like, okay, Jake, like this, I started reasoning with myself. I was like, this is what's happening, right? You're in so much pain. I was like, I know you're not able to breathe right now as much, and it really sucks, but I know that I never suspected it was a collapsed lung. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I know it's a pinched nerve. It hurts really bad. The pain can make certain things happen. So maybe it hurts so much that you're just unable to take a full breath because your lungs are pushing on the nerve and all of this is happening. But okay, I'm good. Just breathe through it. Calm down. Like you'll be able to breathe in a second. It just hurts a lot. Take some Advil. You're good. Got to my car. Wasn't even able to. It was like trying to take a breath out of a straw that was closed at the end. Like it was impossible to take a breath. Like it was like the shortest like millisecond and that's all I could take. So it was literally like I was suffocating. And it sucked. And I called my mom, and I was like, hey, I can't talk, like I was gasping for air. I was like, I can't breathe. I don't know what's going on. She's a nurse, so I thought she was gonna, help me out. And she's like, what's going on? And then I stopped being able to breathe completely. So I was just like, I'll call you back. And I hung up on her, and I immediately dialed 911, started stumbling back to the gym, couldn't breathe. And I just remember, it's funny, it's a buddy of mine now. He's like one of my really good friends, Chris. We actually didn't become friends because of this, but I had never known him. I walked up to him. He's on the phone at Crunch because he's front desk. I hand him my phone, show him 911. I hand him it because I can't speak. And I just hand him my phone, and he's on the phone. He's like, oh, hold on. And he hangs up on the person that he's on the phone with, and I don't know what he says at that point, but I just give him my cell phone, and I go and I lay down on the couch, and there's another girl, Chrissy. She worked, Chrissy.
Mm-hmm.
She worked at our crunch. She was in school for nursing or something, so she came over and tried to help. And I remember she told me to put my arms up, and I was like, "That's not gonna help. This sucks." I put my arms up for like maybe 2 seconds, and I was like, "No." I was like, "This sucks." And so I laid down on the couch. She starts pouring water on my neck, and this is the part where it got really real. I wasn't able to breathe for maybe like, I don't know, it had been like a minute and a half where it was like very, very super shallow breaths. So it was enough to keep me alive and alert, but not enough to like, get a good breath in where I felt like I wasn't like underwater. And she was pouring water on my neck. And all I remember is I'm laying on the couch and my vision starts to go out. Like everything starts to go black. I can hear, I can feel the water. And I'm just like, all right, whatever. Vision's going black. It's cool. Lack of oxygen. I get it. And then I'm very self-aware in the situation. I'm like, all right, I'm trying to calm myself down. I'm trying to calm my nervous system. I'm like, I know that freaking out isn't going to help. I don't know what's going on, but you're chilling. Then vision goes out. Then I remember the sound. Every gym is loud, right? So the gym is booming and I could hear the music and everything. And then the sound just starts to muffle and then it goes away. Sound goes away completely. I can still feel the water. I'm like, all right, what's going on, right? And then all I remember is the water, the feeling of the water just goes away. Like I don't feel the water anymore. I know she's pouring it, but it stops. Like I don't feel anything. And then the hearing goes away, the vision goes away. And I just remember I was just like, this is it. I'm dead. Like I didn't know what was going on. I was just like, well, that's it, right? And a little bit of comedic effect. I literally remember thinking to myself in that moment when everything goes pitch black and I can't hear anything, can't feel anything. And I'm just thinking to myself, and I just remember I'm thinking, dang, they say all these things about your life flashing before your eyes and I don't even get a vision. Like this sucks. I just remember I'm like, dang, I'm going to die and I don't get to see my life. This is trash.
I mean, that should have been a good sign though. That means it wasn't done yet.
Yeah, but I really thought I thought I was done for. So I was like, this kind of sucks. Like I want to see my family. I want to like, relive some stuff. But anyway, I woke up on an ambulance and yeah, they kept asking me questions about like where I lived and stuff. I'm like, guys, I can't talk. Can't even breathe, right?
You're like over there.
Yeah, it's just a funny situation. But anyway, sat in the emergency room for like 2 hours. They finally came out and they were like, yeah, you got a collapsed lung. I'm like, okay, thanks, guys.
Time out. You almost died, and they're like, hold on, you got to wait for a few hours till we.
Well, they took an x-ray and then they left. And then they left me in the waiting room. And I guess the x-ray didn't come back for 2 hours. So they just let me sit there because they thought I was, they just thought I was just freaking out or something. And then he was like, we looked at the x-ray, you got a spontaneous pneumothorax. So, and they stuck a tube in my lung and sat in the hospital for 3 weeks. It's a fun time.
So you said that you recently gave your life to Christ, right? I mean,
Correct.
What about that moment? I mean, for me, I guess I would have immediately like done like what about that moment didn't kind of like spur you to then immediately be a full-on believer? I mean, like was it just like the shock of it, or I'm not, I'm just trying to.
Back then I was still very naive. I was still in college. I was just, that wasn't even on my radar. I don't know why, but it really wasn't even on my radar. I think a big thing is in college, especially USF. I think a big thing is for people, like the thing back then was to be a non-believer. I think that people were, I see it. It's actually funny. I see a lot of people now. Like it seems like a big movement of people coming to Christ. I don't know what it is about like last year and this year, but it seems like there's a big wave of social media trends have turned into, it may have been like, Bryce Crawford, like them, like making it bigger, but it seems like social media is redirecting itself from a couple of years ago. To be honest, my For You page, like my reels and everything, it was all just antichrist stuff. Not like demonic, but it was more like, oh, we believe in science, like people trying to discredit it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every time I was walking through campus, there was the protesters, saying like, you're going to hell if you do this and that. And then there was just all the students yelling at them, being mad, saying like, we don't believe in God, that type of stuff. It was just very big back then. And I think that it's made a good shift in the right direction. But back then I was surrounded by that so much. It's not really an excuse, but I think it wasn't even on my radar because the majority of people that I was around, just that wasn't on their radar. So I was kind of following following herd.
I mean, two things on that, right? Like one, like what you seek, you shall find, right? So if you're
Right.
seeking God, like you said, like your For You page didn't have that on it, but now that
Mhm.
you're more involved in the light, living a life toward Christ, like you're going to see that more on your For You page, right? And you're going
Yeah.
to surround yourself with people who truly believe in God and in Christ. And that's going to make your world around you more Christ-like, right? And the thing with people saying, if you do this, you're going to go to hell. And also people saying like, I don't believe in God. It's like, okay, but you do believe in consequence, right? And
Mhm.
God loves us. So God's going to lay out these things that we should and should not do. And when they're laid out, it's like, hey, you can choose to do whatever you want, but like your consequences aren't going to be great. Like
Yeah.
you're not going to have great consequences if you choose to do these things against what I've said. And if I'm the creator. So if I know how this all works. So if you're going to choose to do against what I've said, then you're going to have negative consequences. That's just how the world works. And I know how the world works. So if you just follow this pattern that I've set out for you based on how I believe the world should work, as the creator, then you're
Mhm.
going to have positive consequences and positive things are going to happen to you. You give to other people, good things are going to come back to you. It's the way the universe works because God designed the universe that way. So he's
Yeah.
also giving you a blueprint of how to act and how to be. And it's happening in real time. And I think, even when I was younger, I had a very, very veiled, like wool over my eyes or whatever, to it. And now that I'm older and I've actually made like kind of like scientific calculations, like, oh, when I do this bad stuff happens. And when I
Mhm.
do this good stuff happens. So it's even like they say God and science are kind of one and the same in a sense for the most part, because if you
Yeah.
take a look at every good thing that's happened, it's because in your life you've chosen to sacrifice in some kind of way. And when you self-indulge, then bad things happen.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of that back and forth. In your life, have you noticed anything like that, like where you have sacrificed and good things have happened to you?
I mean, yeah, that it tends to go hand in hand, but I don't really try to focus on it because I feel as if I know myself and I know unfortunately, I'm very analytical on how I think.
Mm,
And I know I, I just, I just love being logical and analytical.
yeah.
And so things like that, things such as, getting into the karma realm of things and like doing good to get good and stuff like that. I know it's impossible to be altruistic, but I want to be as close to altruistic as possible. So I want to be able to do good just for the sake of doing good. And I know that if I think too hard about the outcomes being good because I'm doing good, I'll only do good to benefit myself, if that makes sense. And I really don't want to fall in line of doing that. And I also don't want to fall in line of if I fall short and I do something wrong, I don't want to be terrified of what my consequences are about to be, because that'll make me dwell on like, shoot, like I did this wrong, like something bad's coming, you know what I mean? And then you're living in a constant state of fear.
Yeah, I get that. I do. Even when I do good things, though, it doesn't always necessarily mean that good things happen to me, though. Just good things in general. Like if I do something good, sometimes like my girl will come home and she'll be like, I got a random $100 tip at work
So
today.
you're thinking like butterfly effect type of thing.
Yeah, and I'm like, wow, like that's fantastic. Like you got a great tip. And I do think that we as people, what we do in our world does affect our world. That I do believe. But I do get what you're saying. Like you don't want to do it solely for the purpose of it coming back to you.
Yeah, like I don't want to do something good for the sake of anything good happening. If, I know that's kind of like a weird way of thinking about it, but it's funny that you bring that up because I think about it all the time. It's like I just want to do good because if it's holding open the door for somebody, right? Like even if it's something as simple as that, or let's say somebody drops their wallet and giving it back to them, it's like, okay, I could think that I'm gonna do good and something good is gonna happen to anyone, right? Let's say it's, in your case, your girl, or let's say it's my mom, something good happens or whatever. Like, I don't want to do the good just for that sake. It's like, I just want to do it just because that's one more person doing good, right? And if everybody it's just
No,
you
I know
just
what
kind
you're
of do it.
saying. You're adding a net good to overall society, and you want to
Yeah.
be part of the net good rather than the net negative.
Hmm.
I definitely see where you're coming from. I
Even
do.
if nothing comes from it, at least somebody got something nice.
Yeah. And that should be the motive. And that is the motive for me. I'm just also speaking on the fact that I've noticed in my life that both things happen.
Mm.
But it also sucks cuz like whenever I don't do something I should do, I'm like something bad's going to happen.
And
And like
that's where you have to be careful.
yeah. And like the more commitments that I make to myself for the most part, like I don't know if you feel like this too. Like do you make like self like goals or self commitments or anything like that?
That is like every week.
Yeah. I do. I have like a habit checklist, and like if I don't do all the habits, I'm kind of like,
Hmm.
did I even do everything right today? Like at all? Like, oh, I forgot to take my AG1 today. Literally today, I forgot to take it in the morning before I ate something, and I ate something, and I was like, is this going to be a good day or not? Because I forgot to
Yeah.
take my AG1 before I eat anything. Like it's kind of like a dual mindset that you can kind of get caught up in if you think about it too much. And I
Mm.
have because I'm also analytical, like you said. Do you ever feel like you're still trying to find the balance between doing good and trying to do the most good, but also like sometimes I feel like I'm burnout? Like, do you ever feel like that where you're like, do I
Yeah.
have to like you know what I'm saying? Like running, right?
Mhm.
I mean, you started the Tampa Bay Run Club, but like you had to stop doing the Tampa Bay Run Club because it was too much on your plate and you had to focus on other areas.
Yeah.
But like when I was running a 5K every day and I stopped running a 5K every day,
Hmm.
I got kind of like, I did it to kind of preserve my body and to make sure my body was okay. But then I also felt like I wasn't hitting the goals that I promised myself to hit. Do you ever feel like that? Do you ever feel like you overcommit to anything? Is my question.
I wouldn't say that there's overcommitment in a sense. I don't feel like I overcommit. I mean, there's things like, the ultra marathon. I had never even ran a half marathon, and I didn't see it as overcommitment. I just saw it as this is going to be hard, right?
Yeah.
So I finished it, I did it, but I don't think it was overcommitment. I don't think it would have been overcommitment if I would have said I'm going to do a 200-mile ultra marathon, right? I think it's just knowing that you gave it everything you got, even if you fail. You know what I mean? Like you
Mm.
hear that all the time. It's better to just try and fail than to just not try. I wouldn't even say, like, even if you're like, oh, I'm gonna make $1 million this year, even if that's impossible, right? I wouldn't consider it overcommitment because at least you have a goal, right? Don't get in the mindset of saying like you're overcommitting just because then you're putting limits on yourself, right? If you don't get it, you don't get it. But I
Okay.
would just say you're committing to it instead of saying I may have overcommitted, because then you're gonna be that's gonna be the same thing. You're gonna be fearful of overcommitting next time, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's two schools of thought with that I kind of bounce back and forth from, right? Like there's the one school of thought where shoot for the moon, shoot past the moon, and you'll land somewhere great. But then there's also another mindset that I kind of want to incorporate where it's like just do one. Because for some people, for me especially at times, if I go, I'm going to read 2 books this week, right? Like for me with my schedule, that's a lot. But if I can get myself to read a page a day, like my goal is 1 page a day. I never read 1 page,
Hmm.
right? I'm always reading multiple pages. I finished a book in like 2 days one time, like, but I set the goal so low so that way I always hit it. But I
Hmm.
know in my mind with who I am, I'm always going to overachieve that. I feel like for me personally, that if I don't hit, say I say 25 pages a day and a bunch of stuff comes up and I only read 20 pages a day,
Hmm.
that I feel like I've failed.
I wouldn't say you failed. Actually, I'm gonna shift my viewpoint of the overcommitment. I just in the middle of that thought a different view, and this happens a lot. I think overcommitting is a wonderful quality. I think that overcommitting can be very, very helpful. If you're always shooting for average, you're just gonna be average, right? If I say I'm going to I think it's a very good thing to just always try to overcommit. Like if you think that you can only do this, right? Every time. If you think that this is your limit, make your limit up here. Because then in reality, you may not get to this point, but you're probably going to be somewhere in the middle of here and here. So you'll
Mm.
be here. So it's like if I say I'm going to bench 365 by the end of the summer, right? And then like there's one person that's saying, I'm going to bench 315, right? And then there's another person that knows that 315 is going to be really, really hard, but they say, I'm going to bench 365, right? They'll probably end up getting to around like 345 because they overcommitted. They may have lost that battle of getting to 365, but they went above if they put a limit on their brain of 315. And a lot of people do that. A lot of people will set that limit. They'll commit. People are scared to overcommit because they're scared of that failure. But in reality, what ends up happening when you overcommit is that you tend to go past what you would have if you just simply committed.
Yeah.
Right?
While we're talking, I'm just having the thought of like, am I satisfying my own ego by setting my bar somewhere where I can achieve it? Because then my ego is constantly, we're checking all these boxes, man. Like
It's a safety.
Yeah.
People are scared of failure. Think about the greatest people in the world, or the greatest, this or that or the other. People have heard it a billion times, right? You can't be scared of failure. That's what everybody says. You can't be scared of failure. And it's so true. And there's a reason they're great. And the reason that they're great is because they're not scared of failure. A lot of people will commit, but they'll only commit to what they know that they are certain they will hit, right? They're scared to overcommit because they're terrified of failure. And that's why they'll never be great. That's why you hear it from those great people. Those people weren't scared of failure. So the reason they weren't scared of failure is because they failed a million times, right? Because they were overcommitting. But that's why they're great. Because they were becoming in that threshold of here's commitment, here's overcommitment. They were falling somewhere around here. Yeah, they weren't like Albert Einstein up here, but they were falling above the average people because they weren't scared of overcommitting and failure.
Landing among the stars.
Mm-hmm. Letting go of the ego.
Yeah. I have it's kind of weird for me because even though I want to detach from my ego as much as I can, sometimes I do find myself like I want to think I did a good job, right? Like at the same time, work out almost every day or at least run every day, do some kind of cardio, full-time job, podcast, studying for an exam right now, really, really extensive financial exam to get licensed. But I always feel like for some reason, I still need to get all these like little other things done or else I'm not doing enough. What's one thing you think people like me with that kind of mindset can do to kind of recenter themselves and reground themselves to know that their value is still good, even though they're trying to hit a bunch of different stuff?
I'm going to bring you back to faith. Stop. You're trying to prove something to yourself that you just don't have to prove, right? You're putting all these little tasks for ego purposes. I mean, it's not necessarily like you're like, oh, I want to be big bad and like doing everything great, but you have to let go of the mindset of like, I always have to be doing more to be better, right? I would love to say that you could compare yourself to somebody that doesn't do as much, but that's just I used to do that. I used to be like, well, I'm doing this and that, and it helped me calm down because I was like, there are people that literally do nothing. There's people that don't go to the gym. There's people that don't do any of that. But that's probably like the worst advice that I could give. I would say the best thing is just slow down and just remember that like realistically and logically, there is such a thing as burnout. And it doesn't matter. You're not a superhero. You will burn out at some point if you're not careful. It's much better to do half of those things for the rest of your life than to do all of those things and burn out in 10 years and then be screwed for the rest of your life, right? You know what I mean? We have such a long life ahead of us. You don't have to get everything done right now. And that is, I suspect what we're going to go into in a bit is that, like trying to do everything will cause you to not do anything like great. You know what I mean? Because you're going to be focusing on way too many things.
Yeah, and I think like what I meant with like the overcommitment, I think I'm overcommitting on what I'm doing, right? Like all the different things that I'm doing. But because I'm trying to do so many different things with overcommitting to like 20 things, right? Or I mean, I guess just hitting the mark on 20 things. I'm overcommitting being in all those 20 different buckets, but I'm not overcommitting in one substantially, right? Like I go to the gym and I strength train. I have certain regiments. Sometimes I do German volume training, sometimes Russian volume training, sometimes progressive overload. I don't necessarily deload at all. That's not really something that, I do at all, which I probably should to an extent to kind of give my muscles a break.
Yeah.
But I'm not like on a super strict nutrition diet and super strict lifting regimen or super strict running regimen, or you got to read 50 pages a day, or you got to shoot one podcast episode a day, or you got to put out 5 clips a day, podcast clips a day. Like, I'm in all these different buckets and I'm doing a lot of different things, but I don't feel like I'm overcommitting entirely in one area. So do you feel like how do you balance that? Not necessarily for me in my personal situation, but how can people, balance it? Because, you're a raw nutrition athlete, you model clothing, you got 2 jobs, you work out. I mean, you're also in a lot of different buckets as well. So how do you balance it?
So, I mean, I do the same thing. That's why we threw around this podcast time 3 times, is because, I would overcommit. I would say, this time works best for me. And then I'd be like, well, crap, man. Like, I got these 50 things going on. It happens. But speaking of your personal situation, I think that if we talk about yours, it'll help other people. I'm just going to ask a simple question. What are you most passionate about? Out of all those things you said, out of bodybuilding, or I'm sorry, working out, podcast, work, which one's most important?
Those are 2 different questions. Which one's more important and which one am I most passionate about? Those are 2 different questions.
Which one's most important to your mental? Like, which one is your passion? Like, if you could do one, let all the rest go, which one would it be?
It would be this, because I'm
the podcast?
I'm genuinely interested in people. I'm genuinely interested in seeing how people's minds work, where they're at, where they come from. I also like getting my own message out, and talking to people and also getting my message out on the internet as well.
All right, simple. So take this one, put it above the rest. Don't get rid of the rest, but don't put them on the same pedestal. Don't think that, if working out isn't that passion, if like it's not bodybuilding or something, don't worry about your nutrition so much. Don't worry about your workout regimen. Like, you're going to the gym, you're doing enough, you're hitting that goal, right? You don't need to, you're not an ultra marathon runner. You don't need to be hitting cardio every single day to feel enough. Like, you don't need to be doing 5Ks, you know what I mean? Like, do them. If you have time, do them. I'm not saying pass them up if you like have the time. Don't be lazy, but don't put them on the same pedestal. Now, if this is your passion, and I'm saying this because I think it will help other people too. Like, you can incorporate it. If this is your passion, make sure this one's your priority. Don't miss any marks on the podcast. That's, you know what I mean? Because this is what you want. So if you don't have time for a podcast, make the time. If you don't have time to post a podcast, make the time. Skip a 5K to post a podcast. Skip a 5K to record a podcast. Things like that. You know what I mean? Put that priority over it, because that's what you're passionate about. Those other ones, hit the mark. You'll have time. You'll have other time. Missing one 5K, missing the gym one time, it's not going to kill you. You know what might is killing your passion by not doing what you're passionate about. So I would say give yourself a little leniency on the things that you're not as passionate about, and take the one that's most important and put that above all else, and make sure you don't hit the mark or miss the mark on that.
It's funny you say that, because just this week, I've been going to the gym at like 6 a.m., right? Like early in the morning. And just this week, I've started to go, okay, I need to wake up and immediately start my day with checking Riverside, which is what I use to stream the podcast, seeing if there's anything that I can do to improve anything with the podcast, and then study for my exam that I'm taking, and then check work, on the days I work, I check work first. Like, that's like the first thing that I check.
Yeah.
And then later in the day is when I'll go to the gym. So I can actually have like that time. And I just started. It's so funny we're having this conversation now, because I just started this week prioritizing my podcast, my studying, and my work, which are the top 3 things that I do need to do. But at the same time, I think it's my time throughout the day too, because I was putting the gym first. Like, first thing in the morning, I wake up, gym right away. And by the time I drive to the gym, it's 20 minutes, work out, hour and a half, drive back, another 20 minutes to drive back. It's like 2.5 hours of my day. It's like 8:30, 9 o'clock. And, I can start them, but after the gym, I'm going to make food. I'm going to eat, I'm going to shower, I'm going to relax. And then it's 10:30, 11 o'clock before I even start doing anything. And people say the gym gives them energy, which it does give me energy. But at the same time, it makes me tired. So then I'm like not all into it either. But if I wake up, have a cup of coffee, sit down, do exactly what I need to do. And then once I'm completely done with that, I'm still going to have the energy to go work out because I still like working out. I still love going to the gym. But I really appreciate you saying that because that is something that I want to work toward more, is to wake up and put all my energy directly into what it needs to go into, which is this. And my job, I mean, I love doing this, but I really feel like the field that I'm going to go in is going to be very, very beneficial for me financially and also from a growth entrepreneurship mindset. I actually can't speak about it on the podcast, or else they have to regulate me if I speak about it. So I don't speak about it that much.
What's the longest you've went? Actually, here, this is a good one for you. How long did you go, like, not doing the podcast? Like, how long of a break did you take?
I want to say that I shot my last episode before I revamped last April. And then I shot an episode, a reboot episode and then I shot an episode with my sister in February. And then in July, I was like, okay, you need to start doing this again. And since then, I mean, you're like the 7th person I've interviewed, and I have another 9 podcasts coming up this week.
So we'll say in a year, you did 7 podcasts around?
Dude, in 2 weeks.
Well, no, but like the time period that you took off. Was it like 3 in a year or something?
Yeah, so I like this January I rebooted, and then in February I did an episode with my sister. And then since then I've done more, but that last, are you saying like this year so far I've done 3?
It's taken from February until like around now to like get back into it, right?
To get back into it fully. Where so like it's
been like 5 months.
Yeah.
And you just kind of stopped for a while, right?
Yeah. But even then I did like 1 reboot, 1 with my sister. So it was probably last.
So you did a couple in like.
So I did like 2 from April to April. I did 2 podcasts.
All right. I'm going to hit you with something. So you put when I asked you, what are you most passionate about? You put podcast above everything, right? Right. I know that work and school are like, they have to be priorities because this is how the world works. Like you have to make those priorities. So I can't make an assumption about that. But you said a handful of times in a half a year. What if I told you I want you to only go to the gym a handful of times in a half of a year? Would you say yeah or no?
I would say no.
You would hate yourself, right?
Dude, I can't 2 days in a row. I feel like I am not living life right.
Then you should have that same mindset about your passion. You shouldn't be able to go months. You shouldn't even be able to go a week without being like, I need to post a podcast. I have to do it. Because that's your passion, man. Like that's the biggest thing. It's like, that's why I'm saying you have to put that priority up there. You have to choose one that's that priority. And if you are sitting there like, man, I can't skip the gym 2 days, like make sure that the podcast is the first thing that you want to do in the day, because you know that involuntarily, like internally, you're gonna go to the gym. Like there's no way you're gonna miss it. Like, you know what I mean? Like you might skip like 2 days, but you're gonna be like, dude, I'm itching. Like I gotta go back, right? But you can easily, it may be your passion, but it's not just a habitual priority, right? Yeah. To post a podcast. So you have to make it a priority. That's the one you actually have to force yourself for it to be a priority, because it's not a habit at this point. It's not a job. It's not making income. It's not, you know what I mean? It's not changing your body. So you're getting nothing out of it at this point right now, other than pure joy. That's it. And pure joy is not monetary. Even, you know, your body like changing, you know, for the better in the gym, like it's not monetary, but you're still gaining something from it. You're literally gaining nothing from podcasts. So you actually have to force yourself to make it a priority. It can be sooner or later. It could be monetary if you make it a priority, but that's just the biggest thing, is if you're saying that it's prioritized over the gym, you got to prioritize it. You have to make it a priority. Yeah. You can't let it sit back. It's not just going to happen.
I think it's like whatever kind of value you place on something, right? Like I see my job and I see studying. I see my job as an income, right? Like it's a necessity. And then I see studying as a way to boost my income, boost the necessity, and ultimately also give me more money to grow this as well. And then I also see the gym as a necessity. And I feel like I need to like, there's some kind of like mental thing with like putting my passion above necessity. I feel like maybe the way I've viewed passion in the past is my passion is a want and not a need. So like for people out there that are kind of struggling with that, you know, making their passion a need instead of a want, what's one piece of advice you would give them?
What's going to be more important to you, like being happy or living in a big house? You know what I mean? Like living in like some mansion or something, like being rich. Like, dude, like people, everybody, like, oh my gosh, like money can buy happiness, stuff like that. Like, okay, you're saying that. That's great. I'm saying that. I love saying that. But in reality, it's kind of like when I went to church and they did a service, they said, don't ever take advice of relationships from somebody that's not married. That's the stupidest thing you can do. Why would you take advice from somebody that's not married? They don't know. They haven't been through it, right? So take advice from people that have it. Any person that you ask that is rich, they will tell you they are not happy with their money. Literally, you hear that all the time, that money, J. Cole, like, you know, all the famous rich people, fame and money, not one of them has said, you know what, fame and money actually does buy happiness. Every single person that's been through it and has all that money they may not always be miserable, but a lot of them are, but they're not saying that the money is the thing that's bringing them happiness. If it's anything, it's like they're posting about their family, they're posting about them having a kid and stuff. So those things are the things that bring you happiness, not the money. Take it from people that literally have the money. They don't care about their money. The only people that care about their money are the people that are like, you know, the rappers like gloating about their money and their chains and stuff. They don't care about the money. They care about the attention, right? You can get attention without money. So stop chasing the money. You know what I mean? I'd rather have attention from a loving, caring wife than a bunch of women that just like me for my money, you know? My thing is like very recently, I decided that like, well, I didn't really decide it, but it's been in the back of my mind that like, I love traveling. Like I just love traveling. And something I've been struggling with is I've always been chasing the monetary value of a job. I've always been like, I need to make all this money so that I can live happily and, you know, have the house and have a kid and have a wife and have a dog and all this stuff. And the thing that I've been battling with is like, that is a lot of people's passion to like have that money, dog, house, wife, whatever. I don't know if that's me at this point. I love traveling. And the thing in my mind is I feel like I'd rather make a lot of money quickly at like like a couple of part-time jobs, make a couple grand and travel with it for a while, come back, do the same thing and just repeat. That's been in my mind because that sounds more pleasurable of a life, exploring the world, exploring God's creation, than sitting at a 9 to 5 and doing the same thing every day of the week. I did the 9 to 5. It sucked. It's like the same thing every day, every week. And then, okay, yeah, maybe if you're lucky, you retire at 50. And then at that point, I went to Colombia. I climbed a mountain. You know what I mean? Like, I can't do that at 50. I'm not going to be able to do that, you know?
I think
Take
you
the
could do
time you
it.
have when you're
I think
young.
you could do it at 50. You'll be fit enough.
Maybe, you know? Maybe. But I don't want to take that chance, you know, because we're going to die one day, you know? Like, my house isn't going to heaven with me. You know what I mean? My car, none of that. It's like, yeah, it's nice to chase. It's nice to have security. You are in a little bit different position because you have a girlfriend. You know what I mean? I'm in the position where I don't have anyone to please at this point, right? If I fail on my own. Like I fail like myself, and that's it. And then I'm just kind of like, it's kind of the same thing as tattooing. I tattoo myself, and I'm like, I won't tattoo other people because I'm like, if I mess up on you, I feel horrible. If I mess up on myself, I'm like, okay, you know, it stinks, but whatever.
What got you into tattooing?
Just wanted to save money, and I was like, I can draw, so why wouldn't I draw myself?
Yeah.
Like, why am I paying these people thousands of dollars to tattoo me when I can do it myself?
So you just like one day just like bought yourself a tattoo kit, made some stencils, and just, are you freehand?
Shout out Jeff Bezos
Yeah.
for allowing me to buy it.
Do you just freehand or do you like stencil or?
No, I bought like one of the stencil printers and stuff. They're pretty cool. Yeah.
Nice. So you like pre-draw everything, then stencil it
Yeah,
out,
and
and
then print it out and then just put it on, and it's pretty much like tracing at that point.
huh. All right, that's pretty cool. I only have one tattoo. You're tattooed up, man. You got
Yeah.
tattoos everywhere. Do
Yeah.
you do them all yourself?
Yeah.
That's a lot of tattooing.
Yeah.
How much? How much does that cost you? To, like buy your own ink and like your own like setup and everything.
The ink for this whole like arm right here, the ink was probably like $14
Really?
for the whole bottle. Yeah.
Wow. So they make some pretty good money.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, sometimes their tattoo machines can get really up there, but I mean, most are going to be is like $1,000, and then you can make that on one tattoo.
Yeah. Wow, I never knew that. I always thought it was like some kind of like really, really special ink that like costed a lot of money. And
It's literally $14 for a bottle that big, and the bottle that big is covered. I think I've bought 2 bottles in my whole time.
dude, really?
$28.
Because you're tatted up.
Yeah, the
Wow.
whole leg and everything. $28.
Wow. Huh. That's pretty cool. Do you feel like there's like a correlation for like you like wanting to sculpt your body the way that you do with like working out and then also like tattooing it? Like, is there like an art form to both that you kind of connect them with?
I think it is still something that I have to get around of. If I have to be completely honest and real, it's definitely still a validation thing. I still have to work around it. I mean, I'll never lie to people when they ask me, like, I'm working out and I'm still trying to get around it. I'm working out to look better for other people. I'm getting tattoos to look better for other people. I'll never lie about that. I'll never be dishonest with it. I feel like if I was in a relationship, I would have never made as many changes to my body as I did. I feel like I'm still working around getting that self-confidence fully. And I think that I'm still like trying to work around the validation aspect. And I definitely keep changing my body. Every time I get a tattoo or do this or that, it's because I feel like I like don't look good enough and I need to look better. You know what I'm saying? It sucks, and that's like a deep thing to say, but it is true. Like, I'll look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, those tattoos don't look right. They don't make me look like attractive. So I'm going to put this on my body to make me look better. I'm just constantly trying to improve myself. And I wish I was constantly trying to improve myself for myself, but I know that I'm doing it for others. And the reason I do also know that is because even when I put myself through pain, like I get a pinched nerve or something, I continue to try to work out. And the reason I continue to try to work out is not because I'm like, oh, like I just have to be all macho and like, it's because like I'm like, I don't want to get ugly. And that's like the hard truth of it. So I'm still trying to find that validation.
Where do you think that stems from? Like, do you think that was like from when you were big, or do you feel like it was like something that happened when you were younger, or something that happened like in a relationship?
I think it's the toxic cycle of it's just now. I think at the beginning it was a validation thing of like, I was shorter and I was chubbier and, girls didn't like me. So I tried to get better. But now at this point, I do get attention, right? So I get attention when I go to work and stuff, and it doesn't boost my ego. It brings me kind of like baseline. But then what happens is now it's kind of like a toxic cycle of since I'm here, people see that and they try to tear you down. So like people think that like, people just must like think you're like the crap and stuff like that. But in reality, it's like any chance a woman gets to say like you're short or something like that, like they're going to take it because like they think that I'm like so like ego up here that they need to tear me down. They say it all the time. So they'll say something every time somebody like insults me. I'm not one to lie. I'm very open with my emotions. My ego is fragile. So like the second they insult me, I go back down and then I'm trying to find a way to get to where they can't touch me. But it's just never going to happen. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Well, I know when we've been in the gym, I have really just 12. That's all you're going to do? All right. So I hope when I say that there's never
it's not quite the same. No, you're good.
No. I do think to an extent, right? Like joking like that is good. As long as it's good natured. Dude, like I want to see you win, right? Like I hope you know that and I hope you feel that. My way of like the way I grew up, tough love was like number one on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Like tough love was like you want to know, like, do you know I played hockey growing up?
Did you play?
I did. Hockey? Yeah, I played hockey. You want to know how I learned how to skate? My dad rented out an ice rink and he put me in the middle of the ice rink and said, when you get up and skate over to me, we can go home.
That's crazy.
I was 2.5 years old.
Dang.
He was like, when you get up and you skate over to me, we'll go home. So I had to like learn how to skate. And then after that, he got on the ice and taught me. But like that initial Like,
Yeah.
first, you have to put in the effort.
Yeah.
And
Tough love, I think.
that tough love, dude, is just insane. So, like, when I do say, when we're at the gym lifting together, and I'm like, Jake, 12's all you got, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That, like, if I didn't say that, I would feel like I am not, loving you enough, because I'm like, I don't care how many reps Jake did. Jake doesn't have to, I don't care about Jake's improvement.
Mm-hmm.
And that mindset, I don't know, I have to like really feel out who I'm around,
Mm-hmm.
because sometimes people, like, if I say that, they will take it very personally, and I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
if you,
No,
I
none
didn't
of
mean
that.
that.
None of that hits me.
Yeah.
It's always been it's always been the height thing that always just, and I'm not even short, but it's like, I think it's become it's almost like people are able to get into your head, because at this point, like, not to sound conceited, not to sound egotistical, anything like that, it is the one and only thing now that people can really, like, girls or anybody that like doesn't like me can really throw at me. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, they're not gonna say like, you're balding. Well, that's not gonna happen. They can't. You know what I mean? They
Yeah.
can't say anything like that. So they're gonna go for the short. And when that's the only thing you hear all the time, it drills into your brain. And so that's definitely something I'm like trying to work around. There's always gonna be those people.
You say you're trying to work around it. What's like one thing that you've tried to like tell yourself, or, meditate on, that has helped you get over it, at least from like where you were to like where you are now?
It really doesn't bother me anymore. Like, I just let it go. And the way I got around it was coming to the realization of like the fact that that is the only thing that they can say. So that's what I'm going to hear. You know what I mean? Like, they need something.
Yeah.
People always need something to try I don't know what this whole thing of like people need to tear other people down is, but you know what I mean? Like, I've kind of just come to the conclusion that that's like the one thing that they can really like go in at. So it really doesn't bother me anymore. I'm used to it.
I mean, dude, if no one's trying to tear down someone that they feel like they're truly better than. Have you ever tried to tear a little kid down? No, because you're more capable than that child. So you're
Yeah.
like, that would be insane of you as a person to tear down a child.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, just a way for like, if anyone does that, like, she may be rejecting you by saying whatever she's going to say about your height, because she knows you got no interest in her, or she knows you're not going to go out with her, or maybe she's afraid that you're not going to. So she got to comment on your height before she even, you get the chance to say no to her.
And that's like the toughest thing for me, like away from, like getting away from all of this conversation is more like, it stinks because I wish that people could understand like the love that I have like in my mind. Like, I know I look like such a rude person. Like, I just look like I'm gonna like,
oh, dude, that hat on right here at the gym being shredded. Yeah. If you didn't know you'd be like, I'm not going to talk to that guy.
Well, it's just that I know in this day and age too, like, culture is weird where like guys are just like naturally disrespectful to women, right? My thing is that like, even if I don't have interest in you, right? I will never once be mean. I don't want to be mean to anybody, right? Like, I love everybody just the same. Like, I will never, I don't care if, because I'm talking about a hypothetical person. I don't care if you're the ugliest girl in the world. Like, I'm never once ever going to be mean to you. Like, I can't do that. Like, I won't do it. And so it's less about it. Like, I never like take the whole automatic, like, oh, you're short, or you're ugly, or oh, you're this, because they're like fearful of rejection. I never take it as like oh dang, like that hurt my feelings. I take it more as like I feel so bad that you have to have your guard up so hard, because that's like the natural way of people nowadays. Like, I wish you could just understand that like, it doesn't matter if I like you or you like me or anything like that. Like, we can have a normal conversation and no one has to get hurt, right? So, because typically I get very harsh attention. Like, I'll get like somebody like being mean to me, like some girl that just met me and doesn't know me. She'll be mean to me because she just suspects that I'm going to be mean to her. And it's just like, it just sucks because like, that's just not me, right? I may look like this on the outside, but I'm still that like chubby little kid that like loves everybody on the inside. Like, I just wish that more people have more love in the world than they do. And I wish that people's defenses weren't up so heavy, because it's just so natural now for everybody to just spread hate.
What's one thing you think that we should do as a society, or at least as a community where we live, that you feel like will patch things up between people in general and create an area of love?
Just communication, it all starts with being nice to others really just starts with like, you got to just let your guard down. You know, if somebody hurts you, they hurt you. You know, like I know that the way I look, I get, you know, that automatic like rejection of like, you know, like you're gonna hurt me. But it's just I don't go into every situation like trying to be mean to them because I know they're gonna be mean to me. I can't, right? I go into it with the like, I'm gonna try to be as nice as possible to you, right? No matter what you do. So it's really just communication of like, just let your guard down. Let people show you who they are. Don't just suspect, right? The biggest thing is like get off of social media, right? Like
Yeah.
if you post on social media, get on social media, post, get off. Man. Like don't sit there, don't watch TikToks, don't watch reels, you know, focus on your group of people, right? The people that you love, the people that love you. Because if you scroll on TikTok, you scroll on reels, you're gonna find people spreading hate. Everywhere there's always gonna be hate. If no one looked at TikTok or Instagram or anything like that, people probably wouldn't think cops are racist. People probably wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like it's all social media. Like, yeah, there are bad apples in the world, but it's gonna show you what you're talking about, what you're thinking, you know?
And the people who run those sites, they're going to blast whatever narrative they want to blast.
Yeah.
And you're suggested they're going to drop whatever narrative they think you're going to be tied to, right? They're going to blast For You page, everything. Like they're just going to keep whatever narrative they want to create. They're going to create. Yeah. And you have the power to create your own narrative within your own world. So it's definitely good to not give other people that power.
Press that not interested, guys.
Yeah, not interested in all of this. Well, Jake, I mean, looking ahead, man, you know, whether it's like your fitness, your faith, your journey, just personal growth in yourself, you know, what's next for you? What's your next aim?
Definitely just, I used to really like recently focus on what am I going to do career wise, right? Because I was just so on that monetary value of like chasing the car, the money, the clothes, whatever, right? I want to get away from that and I want to do more of what I told you to do, and that's focus on whatever my passion is, right? I don't care what the money's going to be, right? Like I need to figure out what's going to make me happy in life because I'm going to die one day. You don't get to do it again, right? And I think about, am I going to be happy, you know, doing what I love doing and having an average wage, or would I be happier with a really high wage, but doing what I hate? You know what I mean? Like being a robot for the rest of my life. That's the biggest thing. Like just figure out what your priority is.
Yeah. And I think you can juggle both. I think, you know, like I work and then I do the podcast, and it's like you just have to dedicate that time into the thing that you love. And something that I am doing, and I need to do more. I need to dedicate more time to this as much as I can. But people that are like stuck in that 9 to 5 right now, like you have weekends. You can say no. You can control the time that you were gifted, right? You're gifted a weekend. Within 48 hours, you can start to create something that you're passionate about, regardless of what you're required to do. And one thing that I really, really had to lean into was God always provides, right? Like no matter how your situation looks, like God will always provide. There's a verse, I forget what the verse is, but it's he feeds the birds and the animals of the land. You're in his image and likeness. I'm paraphrasing, obviously. You're in his image and likeness. What makes you think he won't provide for you? You're his children. What makes you think he won't provide for you? And it's very, very hard to see it. But when you start following his word and when you have severe conviction about certain things, I really feel like it can push people in the proper direction and make them very successful and happy with whatever kind of passion they want in life.
And speaking on that, for anybody listening, I do also want to say the biggest mistake people make with that one is thinking that that just means money. He's going to provide money. Like don't get mad at him if you're not a millionaire next year because you put all your faith in him. That's not what it means, right? Like it can be providing anything. Like if you're not dead, you're provided for. If you're not, you know, homeless on the side of the road, even those people are provided. They're not dead, right? Like God is giving you life. You know what I mean? Like he will provide doesn't mean you're going to become rich and famous. Like don't think that, right? Doesn't mean that couldn't happen if that's what you're striving for. But, and second part to that is it also doesn't mean that you can just sit back, relax, and let him take the wheel and you just get everything. It doesn't mean that I can just sit down and be like, I'm not going to have a job. I'm not going to go to the gym, not going to do any of this, and I'm going to have a great body and money and everything, and God's going to just give it to me. Like, that's not how that works, right? God will provide. So whatever you try to do will work out as long as you put faith in him, but you have to try. You can't just sit back and relax, right? So I just say that because a lot of people get those messed up.
No, absolutely. And I think that blessings definitely come in the form of not just monetary, for sure. Even when you pray about stuff and it's not even monetary, sometimes you can find it on the side of the road. I mean, actually, I was praying to have enough money to buy a grill because I wanted a really nice grill. And as I was driving, I wanted a griddle, like one of the, I forget what the main griddles. Blackstone, dude. I wanted a Blackstone so bad. I was driving through my neighborhood. Someone had a Blackstone outside for free. I had to go pick up my girl from work. I'm like, I'm going to grab it on the way back. I come back, it's gone. And I'm like, that was literally God going, dude, you've been asking me for a Blackstone for like 5 weeks. And I put it on the side of the road and you couldn't just text her. Like, and it wasn't her. If I said, hey, there's a grill on the side of the road, I'm going to stop, pull it back to the house. I'll be 10 minutes late. She would have been perfectly fine with it. But like, it was such an obvious thing that I just completely ignored. And like, even though it's a thing, it's not money, but it's like, dude, here's a free Blackstone that you've wanted a Blackstone for 5 weeks. Someone is getting rid of it and you drove past it. You drove past your blessing because you were in a rush and you couldn't take 5 minutes to stop and be like, hold on, this is a prayer getting answered right now. Yeah. And I think that's why meditation, like what you were doing, is very important because it allows you to stop and go, wait, hold on. I've been asking for these things. I remember asking for these things because I've been intentional about it. And now God is blessing me.
Yeah.
Jake, dude, it's been fantastic having you on the podcast. What are some Instagram handles that people can follow you at? I know you're a raw athlete, so we can also drop your raw nutrition code as well. But do you want to mention real quick your Instagram and that raw nutrition code if you have it handy?
Sure. Yeah. So Instagram is going to be Jake T. Ramos, all one word. And then raw nutrition code, if anybody, we have Bum Energies, which are, they're actually really great. I don't know if you've had one, but
I've had his pre-workout. I haven't had the regular carbonated energy drink though.
These ones are 116 milligrams of caffeine, so it's not a lot.
Yeah.
It's natural caffeine, so it doesn't, it doesn't make you jittery. It doesn't make you crash. It's pretty much like a cup of coffee. Great flavors. Those are on there. And then they have pre-workout, protein, all the above. Best quality stuff that I've ever had. Code is J Ramos. Pretty simple.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. If you had to leave the audience with one thing, what would it be?
I got to go with the find the thing that you're passionate about and put that as a priority. And remember that it's not going to naturally be a priority. You have to make it a priority.
Awesome. Awesome, man. And for all you guys out there listening, we are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. I post clips. I'm moving it up to 3 times a week, posting clips whenever an episode comes out on Instagram at the Parker Pod, no spaces. The Parker Pod is no spaces anywhere. The Parker Pod, whole word. Thank you all for listening. Jake, again, thank you, man, for coming on. I really appreciate it, man. And as always, stay blessed.
Yes, sir.